They're called Generation Broke, young people starting out and struggling to make ends meet. Now, financial expert Suze Orman has some surprising new ideas for them and their anxious parents.
The advice today with money has got to be different because today we have different circumstances.
Stay tuned for Straight Talk in Suze Orman for the young, fabulous, and broke. Support for this program is provided by LendingTree.com, turning the tables on the traditional lending process by making banks compete and giving you the power to choose the loan that's right for you. When banks compete, you win. LendingTree.com. And by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you. And now, the woman who has transformed the financial lives of millions, Suze Orman.
I always love to see people come out to talk about my favorite topic, money. But you know what's so sad is that not many of us have much of it anymore, do we? Listen, over all these years, I really thought that I had it down when it came to money. I would tell everybody year after year after year the exact same thing. Stay out of credit card debt. 8 months of an emergency fund, buy your home, try to own it outright, and on and on and on. You know all the things that I've been telling you for years, and I believe in those things so much I can't even tell you. Then one day, I'm at a friend's house who has a daughter, about 24 years of age, and I'm talking to her, and I said, "So, do you like watching me on TV?" She goes, "Kinda." And I could tell by her face that something wasn't quite right. And I said, "Well, what's wrong?" She said, "Suze, let's get real. Who in the world can have an 8-month emergency fund? Who in the world can get by without credit card debt? Suze, my friends, we don't like to watch you because you're telling us to do things that we can't do." Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, I just stood silent in my tracks. And you know, for me, that's a big deal. And I looked at her and I went, "How's that possible? Of course you can." But then I started to go out and talk to people who were 25, 30, 35 years of age. I just didn't talk to one person, 5 people, 10 people. I started to talk to hundreds of people in that age group. And what did they all tell me? Over and over and over again, they told me the exact same thing. They told me that their parents keep telling them, save their money, do this, do that. And they keep telling their parents, "But Mom, Dad, we're doing everything we can, and we still can't save." So therefore, I want to try to give you advice. Maybe you feel that you are young. Maybe you know that you're fabulous. But the truth of the matter is you're just broke. And you want to get out of broke. And you really need the information to be able to do so. As I thought more and more about this, I realized that word broke was a really important word. I coined this generation YF&Bers, that they are young, fabulous, and broke. And why are they broke? They weren't born broke, but they happened to be born at a time when they matured into their working years, when they graduated college, when real estate prices are through the roof, when the tuition for their college education cost them more in student loans than their grandparents paid for every single home they ever bought. When the price of a gallon of gasoline is so out of sight that they can't even afford to buy a car, let alone to fill it. Health insurance is through the roof. If you look at the price of these health insurance policies, that alone will make you sick. And the job market is really, in most areas of the United States, horrific. And if you do happen to get a job, starting salaries today in many of these corporations are what they used to be 10, 15, or 20 years ago. And good luck. If you work for a corporation, they no longer give you a pension when you retire. That doesn't happen anymore. Who funds your retirement? You do today. Who funds your health insurance when you retire? You do today. So it doesn't matter whether you are 25, 35, 45, or 55. The advice today with money has got to be different than the advice with money 20, 30, or 40 years ago, because today we have different circumstances at hand. Therefore, we have this show, a show that has different advice than I've ever given before on any of my other specials, a show that is really for those of you who really want to be more and have more, and a show for those parents out there who are worried about their children because maybe they're still supporting them and they don't want to. This show is for everybody, if you ask me. You know, I'm standing here in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I'm at the university here. And to get into this university or into any university or college, you all need a certain score besides good grades, don't you? You need what's called an SAT score. And the higher your SAT score, the more of a chance you get to be admitted into the university that you want to go. Well, that's great. But now you've graduated. You're no longer in the university, and now you're in real life. But when you're in real life, there is one score, one item in your life that admits you and gets you to wherever you want to go in your financial life from this day forward, and that's known as your credit score. And the time to start building it is when you are young. Your credit score happens to range from 500 to 850. The higher your score, the lower the interest rate you will pay on car loans, home mortgages, on credit cards. If you have a low credit score, do you think a landlord's going to rent you an apartment? You're not going to be able to pay them. Therefore, they're not going to rent to you. It is this credit score that many employers will use to determine if they want to hire you or not. If you can't be good with your own money, you aren't going to be good with theirs either. This credit score is important. And what's so very sad is that most of you have never even checked your credit score, and many of you are doing things unknowingly that actually hurt your credit score rather than help your credit score. Let me tell you a few things that you need to know about your credit score that you need to do so that you don't hurt it. Here you are, you have credit cards. And maybe you have 5 cards, 10 cards, 15 cards. And you think to yourself, you know what? I don't need all these credit cards. And you start to close them down. If you close down a credit card, you actually hurt your credit score rather than help your credit score. Why? Because approximately 30% or so of your credit score is made up of your credit history and something called your debt to credit limit ratio. When you close down your credit cards, you are also closing down your credit history. When you close down your credit history, ding on your credit score. So let's say you have 5 credit cards. One that you got 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago. It's blue, it's cute, it's the only one that you want to keep open. You close down these 4. You've closed down your credit history. Don't do that, ladies and gentlemen. The next big thing, your debt to credit limit ratio. Each one of these credit cards has a $2,000 credit limit. You have 5 credit cards, that gives you a $10,000 credit limit, does it not? You don't owe anything on these 4. You owe $2,000 on this little cute blue one. That means your debt, what you owe, $2,000, to your credit limit of $10,000 is 20%. That's good for your credit score. But if you close down these 4 credit cards and you only keep this one open, you now have a $2,000 credit limit, a $2,000 debt. You have 100% debt to credit limit ratio, ding, on your credit score. So even though conventional wisdom would tell you, you have all these credit cards out there, you need to do something about them, pay them off, close them down, it's true, it'd be great for none of you to have credit card debt. It would be great for you to pay that down if you could. However, once that happens, I am telling you, don't close down your credit cards, because if you do, ding on your credit score. All right? Recently, there has been an act passed called the FACT Act. And the FACT Act allows you, for free, isn't going to cost you a penny, to check your credit reports once a year, every year. You not only have 1 credit report, you have 3 credit reports. 1 from TransUnion, 1 from Experian, and 1 from Equifax. And it is the information that is on your credit report that reports into the bureaus that creates your credit score. So your credit score is based on information on your credit report. Do you know that 25% of all the people today who apply for a loan are turned down because of incorrect information on their credit reports? So I need you, in order to get out of broke, in order to get a lower interest rate, to at least take 1 step that's totally free and won't cost you a thing. Send for your credit reports. You get 3 a year that are free now. Check your city and your states to know when that can happen for you, and make sure that the information on there is correct. Once you've done that, if it's not correct, correct it, and you will see an incredible jump in your credit score if there has been incorrect information on there. All right, now you have to start looking at your life. We have to look at how do we make an investment in who we are as people who are 25, 30, and 35, so we get to build a career for ourselves. So the goal here is going to be as follows. Rather than you being in a situation where you are dependent on a paycheck, I want you to get into a situation where those who give you a paycheck are dependent upon you. Did you hear that? That can happen. But in order to do that, you need time to make your mark so that you are noticed by those who you're working for. I want to tell you a story that I did with a woman by the name of Lauren. This is a true life story, and this is how you start to go from being broke to not being broke and working in a situation that you want. Here's Lauren, 21 years of age, and she wants to be a shoe designer. She gives her application to every single place in New York City, and everybody turns her down. She doesn't know what to do. She's talking to me about it. And one day, a friend of her mother's offers her a job for $65,000 a year as a toy designer for this woman's company. Lauren comes to me and says, Susie, $65,000 a year. I have to take this job. And I said, Lauren, do you want to be a toy designer? And she said, no, but Susie, I'm being a waitress right now. I'm doing things I don't want to do. The shoe places haven't answered me yet. This is $65,000 a year. I said, Lauren, I am asking you not to take this job. If there was ever a time in your life to stick by what you want to become. Now is the time. Now is not the time for you to work for money. Now is the time for you to work for something that you love and you want to be for the rest of your life. She stuck by that. She turned it down. She didn't talk to me for almost 2 months after that. But what happened was she got a job in a shoe company in New York City for under $30,000 a year. And she says to me, all right, after taxes, after everything in New York City, can you tell me, Suze Orman, how do you expect for me to make it? I said, well, Lauren, we'll get to that in 1 second, but here are the rules of this game. If this is a company that you want to develop a career with, which it is, this is what you need to do. They want you to be there at 8 o'clock, get there at 7. You're supposed to leave at 5, stay until 8 or 9. Come in on Saturdays, you come in and work and do everything that they ask you and everything that they don't ask you. And you are not to ask them for a pay raise. This is not about money. This is about you establishing yourself to this company as the greatest worker they have ever seen, bar none. And she did that. Now, while she was doing that, she didn't quite know how to make it. And I said, all right, I want you to listen to me. For all these years that I've been telling you not to use credit cards, I want you to think about this. Years ago, when people really wanted to make a good investment and they wanted to make money, what did they do? They bought an undervalued asset. They leveraged that asset and they kept it until it became a valued asset. Let me give you an example. Years ago, people bought stocks when stocks were very cheap. When the shares of stock went up in value, they would sell them and make a lot of money. Real estate. They bought a piece of real estate. Years ago, real estate was undervalued. They would buy real estate, borrow money from a bank, wait until that piece of undervalued real estate became valued by everybody else, correct? And then they would sell it. And that's how fortunes were made. Let's get real today. What is out there that is undervalued? The stock market isn't that undervalued anymore, is it? Real estate isn't that undervalued anymore, is it? What is the only undervalued asset that is out there today, in my opinion, and probably yours? It's you. It is the youth of America. They have the most incredible educations of anybody out there. They are incredibly undervalued as an asset. So how do we make them become a valued asset? By investing in themselves. Are you following me? How do they do that? This is where my advice now has altered. While it is true that there are bad debt, good debt years ago for credit card, today for this young, fabulous, and broke generation, I am changing that terminology from bad debt, good debt, to bad uses and good uses of credit cards. What's a good use? A good use of a credit card is to go to the grocery store to buy groceries for you to eat. A bad use is taking a credit card and going to a restaurant for you to charge food to eat out with your friends. Good use of a credit card, putting gasoline in your car so you can get to your job. Bad use of a credit card, putting gasoline in your car so you can go on a skiing vacation with your buddies. There are good uses and there are bad uses. So we tried that with Lauren. And during those months when she was getting by, because she was using her credit card for good uses, coming in at 7 in the morning, leaving at 8 o'clock at night, every single person at this shoe company was noticing her. 1.5 years later, Lauren has now been promoted to one of the head designers of this shoe company. She is making a seriously good salary, stock options, and everything else. And guess what? She is now in the position where she doesn't need to use her credit cards anymore. And she now is making enough money that she will be able to pay back the debt very easily in just a few months that she accumulated on this credit card. What was the goal when I started this? The goal was for those that you are dependent on a paycheck for right now, for them to become dependent upon you. When you give your all to the place that you're working, when you're first starting out, trust me, they will notice you and they will want you. Let's go back to Lauren for another second. When Lauren knew she was going to get this promotion, she came back to me and said, all right, I want to go in there and I want to ask them for this much money. And I said, you are not to go in there and ask them for a penny. Do you hear me? She said, oh my God, when is this going to stop with you, Susie? She said, what are you talking about? I said, Lauren, you are now essentially 23, 24 years of age. You have a lifetime ahead of you to make the big bucks. If you make the importance of your work money rather than what you do, you have blown it. You are now like every other person out there. And your boss, your employer, everybody will go, oh, just somebody else who wants more money. The money will come after you yourself have proven yourself and continue to prove yourself to this company. Without asking, this company actually gave her what she wanted. And don't think that they did not take note that she did not ask them for the money. Lauren is now in a situation where many of you deserve to be in, but your priorities have got to be in order. You have got to understand, are you going for a job that just keeps you from being kind of broke? Or are you going for a career that you will love going to every single day for the rest of your life, so that, in fact, you can then love it, want to be there more? The more you're there, the more you're noticed, the more you're noticed, the more money you make, the quicker you're out of broke. Am I making sense to you? All right. So we briefly went over the fact that we have different things that we need to do for this generation, how you have to establish a really great credit score for yourself to give yourself that foundation. You have to make it so that whoever you are working for, they take note of who you are and they become dependent on you, not you on them. That if you really need to make it, that your credit cards for good uses for a very short period of time, no more than a year or two really, can help you if that is your last resort for you to do that which you really, really want to do. So when we come back, I'm going to tell you the 3 things every single person watching and all of you in this room need to do to make sure that you get to where you want to go. Everybody. I got something in my hand that looks kind of familiar. It's not just a fan. I have a question for you. What if I said to you, out of the goodness of my heart, that I would give you 50 cents for every dollar that you have in your wallet, and you get to keep that as well? I have any takers? Whoa! Yeah? Is there anybody who doesn't want to take that offer? I didn't think so. Except me, I'm not going to really do that. However, it brings me to this point. Because we're in a new time, because, as I mentioned a little bit ago, that all of us are responsible, really, for funding our own retirement, that it is up to you to not pass up free money. Now, I just offered you free money, and every single person in this room, you all wanted it. But yet, for those of you who work at a corporation, that happen to offer a 401k plan or a 403b plan. Those are employer-sponsored plans where sometimes they allow you, when you contribute $1, they match your contribution up to 50 cents or $1. A lot of you pass that by, don't you? Especially those of you who are YF&Bers, because you say to yourselves, I don't have enough money to pay my bills. How do you expect me, Susie, to pay and put money into my retirement accounts? I'm here to tell you, in the same way that you didn't want to pass up the money that I was freely going to give you, no matter what your situation, no matter how much debt, how broke you are, what you've got going for yourself. You cannot pass up free money. If somebody is going to give you 50 cents, if you give $1 to yourself, that's an automatic 50% return to yourself. You will never get out of being broke if you pass up free money. So one of the keys to understand is that when you work for a corporation that offers that, you have got to tomorrow sign up for that 401k plan. So if you can set yourself up in a situation, even if you have severe credit card debt, to take advantage of the 401k plans or the 403bs. A 403b is for a nonprofit corporation. A 401k is for a profit corporation. If you could take advantage of those plans, if your employer matches your contribution, you are to do so 100%. All right? Now, every corporation that's out there, if they do match, they only match up to a specific amount of money. Therefore, you are to contribute to your 401k or 403b up to the point of the match. After your employer no longer matches, you are to stop your contributions to the 401k or 403b totally. If you work for a corporation that does not match your 401k plan at all, you are not to contribute to that 401k plan. What should you do instead? If you happen to have credit card debt, you would be far better off, rather than contributing to a 401k plan that doesn't match, to take that money and to pay off your credit card debt. Why? The more credit card debt you pay off, your credit card debt starts to go down. When your credit card debt goes down, your debt, what you owe to your credit limit ratio on your credit cards, also starts to go down, does it not? When your debt to credit limit ratio goes down, your credit score goes up. When your credit score goes up, the interest rates that you're paying on your credit cards, your car loans, your home mortgages go down. When they go down, the less money you have to pay out, the more money you have. Do you understand why, when you get to the point of getting out of credit card debt, that is actually more important than saving in a 401k plan after the point of the match? Now, after you have paid off your credit card debt, or if you happen to be one of the lucky ones out there and you don't have any credit card debt at all, rather than a 401k plan that doesn't match, or rather than putting more money in your 401k plan after the point of the match, you are far better off doing a Roth IRA than a 401k plan. Why? As I stand here in front of you, we are currently at the lowest income tax brackets in the history of my lifetime and of your lifetime, are we not? We're also facing record deficits. There is a distinct probability that tax brackets will have to increase for us to pay for these deficits. What sense does it make for you to put money into a 401k plan that's tax deductible today at the lowest income tax brackets in your lifetime, to possibly withdraw that money 20, 30, or 40 years from now at possibly the highest tax brackets of your lifetime. If you ask me, doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Number one. Number two, in most 401k plans, you are limited to the mutual funds that are within that 401k along with your employer's stock if they happen to offer one. That's a very small amount of choices for you to have really to invest your money in. There are all other kinds of ways that you might want to invest your money. If you open up a Roth IRA at a discount brokerage firm, for example, you have the entire investment world at your fingertips. You can buy any stock, any mutual fund, any exchange-traded fund, something you should all learn about, individual bonds, anything that you want is available to you within a Roth IRA. All right, you put money into a Roth IRA. As long as it sits there, all of it, until you are at least 59 and a half, and for 5 years after 59 and a half, you can take 100% of that money out tax-free. If you have $400,000 in there and you want to take it out after the age of 59 and a half, as long as it's been in there 5 years, tax-free. You want to take $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 out of a 401k plan all at once, totally taxable to you as ordinary income, whatever income tax bracket you happen to be in. Next, with a Roth IRA, you are contributing with after-tax dollars. So here you are, 30 years of age. You put $4,000 in this year, $4,000 next year, $4,000 the year after. You now have $12,000 in this Roth IRA, and that $12,000 has grown to $13,000. Now something happens. You need money. Whatever the reason is, you're 33 years of age. Do you know that you can take out anything up to that $12,000 that you originally put in? No taxes, no penalties whatsoever. It is that extra $1,000 that money earned that has got to stay in there until you are 59 and a half and at least 5 years. Hey, if you just withdrew that money from a 401k plan, taxes and a 10% penalty. There are so many advantages to a Roth IRA, I can't even begin to cover them all in a show like this. But your plan of action is, and I will repeat, 401k plan up to the max of what they match. After that point, or if they do not match at all, pay off credit card debt. Once your credit card debt is paid off, or if you don't have any credit card debt to begin with, fund your Roth IRA to the max. After your Roth IRA is funded, if you do not own a home and you want to own a home, then your next thing that you have to do is start saving for a down payment on a home. I think no matter what your situation is, every single one of you needs to have a goal of owning a home that you can call your own. Because a home is the best investment you will ever make in your life, no matter what you do. Let's say you want to buy a house, and let's say that house is worth $100,000. And this example will work no matter whether you buy a house for $500,000, $1 million, or even $5 million. But then, if you're buying a house for $5 million, you really don't qualify for a YF&B, or do you? All right. Okay. So we have $100,000. Now, when you buy a house, you don't just simply write a check in most circumstances for $100,000. You actually take a percentage of that house and put it down as a down payment. Normally, the down payment on a house is 20%. But who has 20% anymore to put down on a house? In most areas, that's more money than we can afford. So now we're starting to put down only 10% when we buy a house. So 10% of $100,000 is $10,000, is it not? Okay. Most homes in normal real estate markets appreciate 4 to 5% a year. We have not been in normal real estate markets for the past few years. But I'm here to tell you everything returns to normal sooner than later. Thank God. And therefore, let's just assume we have returned to normal. So 4% on $100,000 is $4,000. But you didn't come up with $100,000. You came up with $10,000. $4,000 on a $10,000 investment out of your pocket is a 40% return on your money. Do you think you're going to get a 40% return in 1 year in the stock market? I don't think so. Do you think you're going to get a 40% return anywhere else in a place that you can live in a place that you get a tax write-off for the interest that you are paying, in a place where if you own that home and it is your primary residence by yourself and you own it for at least 2 years and you live there, do you know the first $250,000 of appreciation is tax-free? If you own it with another person, the first $500,000 of appreciation is tax-free. Everything over that $500,000, if you own it with somebody, of appreciation is at the capital gains tax rate. Where in the world are you going to find an investment like that? Nowhere. That is why it is so very, very essential that you have your priorities straight. So here you are, you're starting out, and you have all these choices that you can make of what to do with your money. Now, a few minutes ago, I talked to you about using credit cards to get yourself by if you're in a career that you really love. To use credit cards for good uses, not bad uses. But you have got to make choices. Really, once you get to the point where you're making enough money and you don't have to use those credit cards, you have got to make choices. Do you want to waste your money to take this vacation and to do that and to do this, all things that you're not going to remember really in just a year or 6 months from now? Or do you want to take that money and save it right here and right now to buy something that you can live in, possibly live in for the very rest of your life? Of course you do. So these are the choices that are up to you so that you know what you want to do and how you want to do it. All right, just to recap what happened here. It's up to you not to pass up free money. Anytime your employer offers a match in your retirement plan, you have got to take it. I don't care how much debt you have. I don't care what situation you're in. You have got to take it. Once you have already established yourself in your place where you are working, your career, and you are now making more money, credit card debt has got to go. After credit card debt goes, if you already own a home, start funding your Roth IRA to the max. If you don't already own a home, start saving for a down payment on a home if you want to do it. After you have all your homes, everything in order, you have your car, you've really got everything going, we want you to have an emergency fund. We want you to be set up so that you are powerful, so you don't have to feel like you are broke. Doesn't have to be that way. When we come back, I'm going to be answering your questions. Welcome back. Now, this actually is my favorite thing to do, because while I can stand up here and tell you everything that I want you to know, the truth of the matter is you have come here today, you are watching this at your homes today because you have questions and you want answers to that question, and that is why I am here. Yes, over here.
Hi, Susie. Thank you for taking my question. I was wondering what opinion you have on what might seem to be a no-brainer for many in the audience, and given that we're here at this great university, but that is the concept of debt for the purpose of securing education. Mm-hmm. In the line of work that I do love, it's working with clientele who are near or at poverty and helping them to understand that education is an investment and it's worthy of debt, but that is very, very fearful for people, particularly people who have been in generational poverty or maybe immigrants. So I would like, because I'm certain that they're going to be watching your show, to hear from you, the expert.
Listen, I know that the cost of education today is outrageous. I'm very, very aware of that in many places. However, there is nothing more important, in my opinion, for you than for you to get a college degree, for you to get educated, and for you to be able to enter the workforce with that education behind you. Today, when it comes to student loans are at the lowest interest rate than you can possibly imagine. In most circumstances, interest on student loans are tax deductible up to the first $2,500 of interest that you pay. So you have got to really look at, out of all the loans that are out there, where you are making an investment in yourself. Student loans, student loan aid people go out of their way to make it feasible for you to pay back that loan, for you to really make it worth your while to take that loan out to get the education that you want. So I have to tell you, I back student loans 100%. However, you always know with me, there's a however. A lot of people, when they don't know what to do, and this is really true for YF&Bers, they don't know what to do. They can't get the job that they want. They can't make the money that they want to make right now. What do? They decide to go back to school. They decide to go back to school and get another degree. They decide to go back to school and get another degree and therefore get more student loan debt. And the truth of the matter is they're only going back to school to get another degree because they don't know what to do right now. That is not the reason for you to go back to school because you don't know what to do. That isn't a good reason to accumulate more student loan debt. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But when you're first starting out, you're going from high school to college to a university, and the only way you can do it is through a student loan. Go for it. I back you 100%.
Thank you.
Yes, over here. Wait, you're too good looking to stay over here. Come up on stage. Come on. Come on. Come on. He looks like a YF&B'er too. Come on, escort me out.
What's happening?
Not much. All right. And you know, it takes a lot of courage for these YF&B'ers, truthfully, to come on stage and national television and talk about the questions that they want to ask about their money. They all have a right to know, and they have a right to get the best answers. What do you want to know?
So does having too many credit cards hurt your credit rating? Because I'm not saying it's me, but somebody I might know. Somebody I know.
Where's his wallet? You got a wallet? No. If I were to open your wallet, would I find 25 or 30 credit cards?
Probably like 25 to 30. I don't carry them on me, though. They're all in a safe. So is it bad to have too many credit cards?
How did you get 25 or 30 credit cards, and why did you get them?
Well, it started as a hobby, so. They always, they sent me these, you're pre-approved for such and such, so I always just mailed it in.
And you just kind of wanted to see how
just
many?
To see how many I can get, so.
Well, all right,
But out of all of them, I only use 2, so.
All right, and out of all of them, do you pay fees on any of them? Or do you pay a fee on all of them?
No.
No, so they're not really costing you anything?
No.
All right. What I would do if I were you, there is a point that you can have too many credit cards. And I have to tell you, your hobby, I think, is starting to hurt you. You betcha it is. Yeah, absolutely true. Because you know what I want you to do?
What?
I want you to close down that credit card. I want you to close down the credit cards that you opened up in the past year.
Okay.
All right? You're not using them anyway, are you?
No.
If you're not using them, close them down.
Okay.
And they're not going to hurt you that much to close them down because there's no history on them. Keep the credit cards open that you opened years ago, when you were 18, 19, that have credit history on them. Keep those as long as There's no fee for those, and as long as they are at a good interest rate, if you charge on them and you have to pay it off over time.
Okay.
Right? Next question.
Hi, Susie. My boyfriend and I, as we've been together longer and longer, we've started to talk about merging our finances and merging our financial goals. One of us has student loans, the other one doesn't. And I was just wondering if you could tell me where you rank paying off student loans in terms, along with paying off all sorts of debt.
What is the interest rate on your student loan?
It's about 2%.
2%.
Yep.
And is that locked? Did you consolidate?
Yes. Yep.
All right. When you have student loan debt at a consolidated interest rate, meaning it cannot change, of approximately 2%, that is an interest rate that you can't get anywhere else. So that student loan debt is the last debt that should be paid off. Again, depending on how much money you make, it may be tax deductible to you up to $2,500 a year. How much money do you make a year?
About $48,000.
So you can deduct the entire $2,500 of interest off your taxes. Where today are you going to get a loan at 2% fixed, tax deductible for the interest? You're not. So you pay it off. He wants you to pay it off? Oh, little smile. Pick up that microphone, boyfriend. Come on. You hate her student loan debt?
No, not necessarily. I just, in merging our goals, I think that we...
So you don't want to marry her till she's out of student loan debt because you're afraid that it's going to become
Well, she was
yours.
one of those people that went back to school because she didn't know what to do to get her master's.
I knew it. And so here's what you need to understand. Do you guys want to get married?
Yes.
Well, didn't mean to go there. Here's a very interesting question. Do you want to marry him?
Yes.
Yes, right away, she knew. If she didn't have debt, would you want to marry her?
Yes.
Whoa. Do you understand? Debt can play a significant role in the relationship of two people. Here's the good news. Any debt that she enters this relationship in that's in her individual name prior to the marriage, you are not going to be financially responsible for it. So you should not use the fact that she has student loan debt as the reason not to say, I do. Yes, sir.
Susie, my wife Juan and I have 3 young, very fabulous, and kind of broke kids. And I'm wondering if you could, 1, confirm some advice, and 2, give some advice to the generation. What I tell the kids is that Social Security is not going to be there for them. It's a broken system for them. They have to save. They have to listen to you. Is that right? And then 2, my kids, like a lot of kids in this generation, not involved in politics, pretty apathetic, but that Social Security, 401ks, Roth plans are all designed by politicians. And don't the young, the fabulous, and the broke have to speak out in politics?
Very good question, sir. First of all, whether or not Social Security is going to be there when they get older doesn't even really matter. Because if you look at what Social Security pays you today, even if you get Social Security, good luck wanting to survive just on a Social Security check. That should not be the goal of anybody watching this show or in this room, to merely exist on a Social Security check. That is not what your goal in life should be. Your goal in life should be own a home outright, to not have any debt, to have enough income from your retirement plans that you saved on your own for you to live any lifestyle that you want to live. And the only way that you can do that is to start saving today for your tomorrows. However, you cannot tell your children that they need to save money and do all this if they really can't get by. They're not getting enough money at where they're employed. They don't know what to do, and they're not being extravagant. Then you kind of have to build this generation up rather than tear them down and tell them just do something because that's what they're supposed to do. They need money to do that. How do they get that money? By having self-esteem and earning it in a career that they love. And all of you need time to be able to do that. In terms of voicing yourselves, in terms of politics, that's up to you. If you don't get involved with your future, then you can't complain about your future. If you don't take a stance on what is happening out there, then you have no right to complain. So you can't let others do it for you. When you're a baby, Mama and Papa feed you. They have to feed you because you can't feed yourself. As you get older, you learn how to feed yourself, and you do feed yourself. As you get older even, you then have to make the money to buy the food to feed yourself. And one day, you're probably going to have to make the money to feed your children and feed them as well. But it's you doing it. Nobody is going to do it for you when you get older. Therefore, get involved. And if you're not involved, you have no right to complain at all. Yes.
Hi, Susie. I just moved recently from Los Angeles to this city where affordable housing is not an oxymoron. And I'm very interested in purchasing a piece of property. However, I had not done, as you had suggested, the long over time savings. And I'm wondering, should I purchase something that is at a lower value now just to be able to benefit from the tax breaks on the interest? Or should I wait and save to have more of a down payment for a better piece of property?
How much of a down payment do you currently have?
Well, on an $80,000 piece of property, $5,000 to $10,000 I have access to.
All right. You have to start somewhere. And you can keep saving to buy a larger home. But the real question is, can you afford a larger home? It's not, do you have enough of a down payment to buy a larger home? There's many places that will allow you to buy a home for no money down. There's many places that you can buy a home for interest-only loans so that you can afford a larger home, supposedly, than you think you can afford. Do you know that we are currently at some of the highest foreclosure rates in the history of America on these homes that people have purchased? Every single one of these people that are in foreclosure today, meaning the bank has taken the house back from you, are all people who qualified for loans, are all people who put some money down and they have a piece of property. What they never bothered to figure out is, can they afford the home that they want to buy? Now, how much are you paying in rent?
About $700.
And in your head, you're thinking that if you bought a home where the mortgage payment was $700, that you could afford it, correct?
Yes, I do.
Could you afford $1,000 a month?
I probably could.
You can't say you probably could. You have to know without a shadow of a doubt that you can. Now, why did I say to her, can she afford $1,000 a month, when she's thinking her mortgage payment could be $700? I'll tell you why. When you don't have at least 20% to put down in most circumstances, you're going to pay what's known as PMI, private mortgage insurance. Private mortgage insurance is $45 per month for every $100,000 of a mortgage that you have. Besides PMI, you're going to have to pay property taxes. Besides property taxes, you're going to have to pay insurance. And besides all three of those things, you have got to put money away every single month for maintenance of a house that you now own in case something breaks. Screens have holes in it. Your roof leaks. That's on you, girlfriend. That's no longer a landlord. Therefore, rule of thumb is your true cost of owning a home with everything involved is approximately 45% more than the mortgage payment. If your mortgage payment is $1,000 a month, it's really going to cost you, when it's all said and done, $1,450 a month for you to own that home. This is what I want you to do. I want you to play house. I want you to pretend that you purchased the home that you want. Figure out what your mortgage payment will be, your property taxes, everything. Then I want you to continue to pay your rent, $700 a month. If it comes out that it's going to be $1,000 a month for you to buy this house, I then want you to take that extra $300 that's going to cost you if you move, and take that $300 every month and put it in a savings account. It's got to be put in on the first of every month, and you need to do that for 6 months. You're now playing house. If you are late by 1 day, if you don't like how your lifestyle feels because you don't have that extra $300 a month to use to do something, you know you can't afford a house that your mortgage payment is $700. If you find out that you can afford it, you've been on time every single month, you like your lifestyle, you now have 6 months of $300 a month or $1,800 that you can use, either more of a down payment to help you with closing costs or to help you move. And that's how you know. If I were you, I would not be basing it on how much you can save to put down. I would be basing it on how much of a home can you comfortably afford. And if you were to lose your job, you can't do it, how long can you carry that mortgage with money that you have, or you're going to lose everything? Did that help you?
Absolutely.
You got it. Yes.
Hi, Susie. My name is Allison, and I have a quick question. Earlier, you said that, like my dad or somebody could take out, put my name and have my credit. I was wondering, is there a way that now that I'm older and I have a really bad credit score, is there a way that he could put my name and then I could get a better credit score? I don't know.
I'm afraid once you have established your own credit score, it's then going, if he does that, you're going to get it all too messed up. So because we can't erase what's already in your name. When you don't have something in your name, you don't have any credit, you don't have any credit cards, so therefore you don't have a credit score, and then your dad or mom add your name to theirs, you assume theirs. In the same way, if they had a bad one, you would assume a bad credit score for them. Once you have one of your own, they'll average it, but it could possibly hurt his, it could hurt yours, so you're just going to have to bear it out on your own. And just over time, get that credit score to come up. Why do you feel really that you have credit card debt? What did you spend that money on?
You really don't want to know my situation. I tried to open up a company and I charged a whole bunch of product inventory, and then I couldn't, whatever.
It was one of these multi-level marketing deals, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, how'd I know that?
I couldn't make the payments, and then it $5,000 turned into $8,000, which turned into $15,000, and I wasn't making enough money, so I declared bankruptcy.
All right, so now you're in a situation where you've already declared bankruptcy,
Right.
Correct?
Right. I need to know what I need to do.
All right, here's what you need to do. You need to not feel bad about the fact that you claimed bankruptcy. Do you understand that you are not a bad person because you claimed bankruptcy? That she is simply a person who managed her money poorly. Big difference. She was going for it. She thought it was a good deal. She didn't have the education behind her to understand that the multi-level marketing probably wouldn't work out, and you didn't know what else to do, so you did it. But here's the sad thing. You're still punishing yourself to this day that you made a mistake 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it may be, or 3 years ago. You're never going to move forward out of broke if you feel bad about yourself and live in the past. Here you are today. You claim bankruptcy, you did it. Now here's the sad part. Most people who claim bankruptcy once claim it twice. Don't tell me you've claimed it twice.
No,
Right,
no,
good.
I'm not. I will never claim it.
But that is true. Did you know that? And that is because we don't want to admit the mistakes we made, and we just go ahead and do it again. Bankruptcy is not an easy solution to just get rid of debt. Bankruptcy is emotionally very difficult. You went through it. Mom, she needs your support. She needs dad's support. She needs encouragement. You need encouragement, and you need to stop looking back. You need to look forward on what's possible. Great, you've got a clean slate. Stand up tall, stand up proud. You're not judged on what you have or what you don't have. You're simply judged when you look in the mirror, and you either like what you see looking back or you don't. And if you don't like what you see looking back, nobody else is going to like it either. And then they're not going to hire you. They're not going to pay you. So it all starts within here for you to really come out of it. Financial bankruptcy is one thing. Emotional bankruptcy is another. Yes.
Yes, I was wondering, Suze, if you could speak to financial values, because I definitely value getting out of debt. I value investing in the future, but I also value giving back to the community. So for an instance, like when the tsunami came up, how does one decide how much to give to that or other things that they value in the community?
You know, that's a fabulous question, and this is what I have to say to that, is that most of us go through life holding on so tightly to that which we really don't have, because we don't have enough. So the little that we have, we hold on to it so tightly that our hands literally are not open to receive that which is meant to come our way. There's only one way that I know to force the opening of the hands, and that is through giving. Giving not so that you can get back, but giving so that you can have values. Giving to say thank you for what you have, as well as giving to say thank you for what you do not have. When you open those hands, you feel generous. When you feel generous, you feel powerful. And when you feel powerful, the world can recognize your power, and therefore employers are attracted to you. Job offers come your way. You get pay raises. So it's almost by giving to others that you actually become more. The question has to be asked and answered, how much do you give? You have got to give a respectful amount to yourself. It doesn't make any sense for you to give everything you have away and then leave yourself a victim to your own financial tsunami. That doesn't help you, and it doesn't help anybody around you. So you dig into your heart and you find out an amount that feels right to you. And it doesn't matter if it's $1. It doesn't matter if it's $10 or $100 or whatever. But that is the amount that you give. However, I have to tell you, you just don't give it because there was a disaster. You give it every single month, somewhere for the rest of your life. You make the first check that you write every month as an honoring to your own values, as an honoring and an offering to start the month with your hands open rather than your hands closed. And my biggest fear, that money that goes out right now, and we're helping everybody, and that's fabulous, but what happens in 2 months, 1 year, 5 years from now? Then what happens? So just don't give once. Give once a month for the rest of your life. And then your values will escalate along with how you feel about yourself and along with all the people that you've helped from your generosity.
Thank you.
So we had lots of questions. We had lots of answers today. We took you through, really, things that you need to understand about your money, your career, credit scores, 401ks, how to have good uses and bad uses for credit cards, all kinds of things. And then we ended with the question and answer period. But I have to tell you, there was a time in my life that a teacher asked me a question, and it was probably the most important question that I was ever asked in my life. And the question that I was asked is a question that pertains to each and every one of us here right now and watching the show. And the question was this: how do you deceive yourself? YF and Beers, the parents of the YF and Beers, those that have $100 on their credit card or $5,000 on their credit card debt right now, whatever your situation may happen to be, how do you deceive yourself? I want you to think about that for a second. If you're like me, I tried to answer that question in every way I could in front of this teacher. No matter what I said to her, she said, wrong, 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 Suze Orman, wrong. I kept saying, okay, tell me the answer then. And the answer that she gave me is an answer that also relates to every one of you. And the answer was this: by thinking that you are not perfect. You are perfect regardless of the cars you drive, the clothes you wear, the homes you live in, your job title, how much money you have in your bank account, or how much you don't. And if perfection is the starting point of the soul, which it is, can you imagine what is truly, truly possible in your life? I know you're young. I know you're fabulous. I know that many of you feel like you're broke. But if you can understand the wealth that you all have within you, you would all see you are the biggest pot of gold that was ever created. Dip your hands into that gold, dip your hands into your own perfection, and know that you have what it takes to be anything and everything that you want. Thank you so much for coming.
Support for this program is provided by LendingTree.com, turning the tables on the traditional lending process by making banks compete and giving you the power to choose the loan that's right for you. When banks compete, you win. LendingTree.com. And by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.